Okay, so walking in from the door into my studio space, this is the view you would see. This first section that I want to talk about is kind of the library / couch area. And I have these are just like, this is just like little pieces of paper I put in the light because I wasn't able to record them without getting this really bad reflection no matter what I did. So to try to focus on stability and not getting too much glare, I'm just going to keep the camera stable and then kind of grab some things and show it to the camera, kind of like a kid bringing stuff to their parents. So this is like the library area, I guess, that I'm often on the couch reading. And these books are nice. I have them sorted with a lot of philosophy books up here. And then there are some really nice ones that are really good, like reference material books. So about painters. And so like this is like a Velasquez one. It's nice if you're working on a painting to be able to come over here and just kind of access whatever book material there is available. A lot of these books with art references were gifted to me, so they're very nice to have. Underneath some of these paintings I have, I'm just kind of letting them dry. I have some bigger books, so it's nice to have those as references. And then I also have some really interesting books that I'd love to recommend with like materials and about art, but like The Art Spirit's a really good book. And I have some sketchbooks and some books that I'm published in with some of the artwork. And then, let's see, this is cool. I'll bring it to the camera because it just comes off. But this was what I got when I graduated from the Florence Academy. It's a wreath laurel that you would wear on your head. And it's basically the equivalent of the square, like the blue cap you would wear at like high school graduation, the kind of stereotypical graduation gown thing. In Italy, they do the wreath laurels, which I think is it's much more elegant. I don't normally have a bunch of paintings blocking all this, but for now I do. But this is kind of more storage. I have a lot of figure drawings that I have matted and some materials that I don't use always. So like paint tubes. This is kind of like my bulk storage of whatever I use, but I don't need immediately. And then I got a speaker, which is nice, just a Bluetooth speaker. I don't have Wi-Fi out here, but I'm able to connect with my phone through the phone service, and it can play like audio stuff or YouTube videos that are really low quality. So it works for audio stuff. Yeah, these pumpkins I've had for like 8 months now, and they haven't rotted, so I'm just watching them every week, but they're impressing me more every week. And then, let's see, if I toggle up there, that was not built out with the studio. This was already there. So it's a little messy, but this is the storage for things that I rarely ever use. Right there, this is the AC unit, which it's a portable AC that just has a vent that goes out of the studio. And so that's really good for the summer months to keep it cool. And so I have a lot of like frames and just materials I don't use or I just use for the summer months. And so that's insulated also, which is nice. I don't have to worry about humidity damage or anything like that. And then I can just like open it or close it. I have a ladder that I can bring in to get to the stuff up there. So it's not very easily accessible, but it's hidden, and it can look a lot nicer if I make the curtain a little nicer. And then I think this is like something is kind of crucial, I think, to every painter's studio, is to have a still life, an oddity section. And so I got a lot of weird stuff that it's really fun to collect that would be great for like still lives. And oftentimes, well, some of these things like this hourglass made into a painting, this piece of glass has been in a still life. And so they do make themselves of use every once in a while for a painting. Like this skull was actually a gift from a commission, a guy who actually got it from the Grand Lodge for the Freemasons in Scotland. So there's some cool stuff with history, with the kind of the history of it. Some stuff from like hiking around Italy, like Mount Vesuvio, old keys, stuff like that. And then a little bit lower, I have some other things. And I used to collect rocks and like minerals when I was younger, and so I have a lot of those. Those are really fun to use. Some skulls, a little pelt, other things like that. And then on the other side, this is like the only piece of furniture that I actually bought. This was on Craigslist like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's like this is exactly what I had in mind with it when I got it, just like full of pigments and materials and things like that. Let's see if I can find a good angle. Maybe a little further back. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so I got a lot of cool stuff in there. Like I keep a lot of the varnishing materials in here, so like Damar and turpentine. A lot of the equipment I use for making pigments and extracting plant materials and things like that. I have a ton of pigments, and so I keep those all in here. I get them mostly from like Kremer or Rublex from Natural Pigments, Rublev. So like this is Litharge. I use this for making black oil, which I have up here. So this is just kind of all the kind of different things that I use. Oils and things like that I don't use very often. Epoxide oil and like balsam resin. So I don't use that stuff very often, but it's nice to have. A lot of that stuff is very cheap. It's just very niche, like not very many people have any utility for it, so it makes it nice for me. But yeah, this is like my favorite piece of furniture in here, just to be able to like store everything on it. And then this is kind of a side project I've been working on for a while now, but I've been cleaning linseed oil. I don't think there's really much of a need for a video or a desire from the community, but I'm cleaning linseed oil in a very historic method. My aim is to get it as pale as this stuff from Chelsea Classic Studio. So you can see the difference between this and the yellow stuff back there. So I still have some work to do with refining it. But I'll keep you guys updated if I'm able to get it as clear as that. But it'd be really nice to have a lot of linseed oil of really high quality, because that Chelsea stuff is too expensive. This, I have a bunch of fabrics in it for models to use for backdrops, which was also given to me. And so this is just a nice kind of storage place for all the fabrics. I guess there's not really much to see in there. And then this was an accroché I built in the second year at the Florence Academy, which is a really useful exercise to do to construct the human body and muscles and the skeleton. But it's really nice for like when I'm working on a multi-figural piece like this, where I'm inventing a lot of the figures up in really dynamic positions and all that stuff, to be able to like look at this and kind of figure out like, okay, this is how big the arm is, how does that relate to the leg? Because it's by far not the best accroché that was made that year, but it's proportionally fairly accurate, so it does the job. Okay, so this is gonna blow out the video, but let's look at the lights up here. So this lighting system was kind of what was the biggest like crux to building the studio that I wanted to kind of figure out. So I guess as a precursor, as you can probably see, there is no windows in this place, which probably not ideal, but these artificial lights work really well. So it's a track lighting system. So I don't know, let me see if I can set this down. So you might not be able to see, but there is this like black beam that is attached onto the wood beam. And that black beam has power to the entire beam. And so these can lights here, I can like, let's see if this works. I can like pick them up and move them this way. I have to get the ladder, of course, but it can be done. You can like move them around however you want. And the same with the ones back there. This black beam, I could take that can light and move it anywhere along there. So I got front light, side light, over there, and I could even get like some backlit if I wanted to put it way back there facing forward. So when I'm taking photo references or working from life, I can have a lot of flexibility with the light. It's also got a dimmable setting on it. So if I go back over, I can adjust a little bit the brightness, which of course, just the more flexibility is nice. I could also, these lights are really, really high in CRI, which is the color range index. So it's how close it is to natural sunlight. I think these are like 98 out of 100. So that's very, very high quality. But you know, you could replace these with warmer lights. Or a mix of them. There's lots of different things you can do. So that gives me a lot of flexibility, which was the goal. And then over here, this is kind of my working desk versus this one, which is just like storage, whatever kind of books I'm reading at the time. I guess it's an extension of this desk, but I like to keep this desk a bit more practical and organized. So this is also where I have a couple pieces from artists I really like. Not original paintings, but like this one is an etching by Daniela Ashton, who was a teacher of mine and is an absolute amazing painter. But this was like an etching she did, which is just absolutely beautiful. So I was really excited to have that. And that's a huge inspiration for me. So I'd like to keep that somewhere where I'm working. And then the one above it over here with the upside down pyramid, that's a Connor Walton print. And I love his work also. And so like this whole board of inspiration was inspired by Daniela. That was kind of her advice for what to do like first thing when you're out of the academy, to have like a board with just like anything that you find inspiring or that you're drawn to just kind of get a visual collage of what you find pleasing, I guess. And so there's a lot of quotes, there's a lot of paintings from living and historical painters. So just a wide range of work. And I like to have that right there where I'm working on my desk. And so I do some reading here, a lot of note taking, sketching, anything like that. Not any video editing or photo editing, things like that, just because I don't have Wi-Fi. So this is kind of the old school learning station, which is I really enjoy. And then this mirror is nice. I guess you're gonna see how ugly my contraption is here. But the mirror is really useful because if I'm, let's see, what's the best way to, if I'm like trying to paint one of these figures and I don't know how the hand looks, I can look at the mirror and kind of do the hand with my own hand, and the lighting won't be the same. If it did, it would be pure chance, but I could at least kind of get the positioning right to conceptualize how to like block in the hand, and then I could get like some better references or things like that. But I find that helpful to be able to look at myself in the mirror and to be able to go from there to there and kind of see how that works. I also have some tools that I like to use for painting, I guess sticking in line with the mirror. I have a regular mirror, just like a little vanity mirror, which are both very dirty. But then this is a black mirror, which is essentially just your phone screen, nothing special. But this is special. This is a piece of obsidian, and so I get to brag about people how useless that, or how like excessive it is to have the obsidian. But I can hold this like this. If you imagine the camera lens as being your eye, and you can invert the image or upside down. Hopefully you can see that. And so anything that you can do that kind of, the black compresses the values, but the mirror is the important part. So you can basically see images upside down. In real life, you can see the full image. I don't know why I can just see a sliver like that, but it's really nice to look at it from all these different angles. I can also look at it in the mirror to see it from a different angle. Any way to see the painting differently just kind of helps keep your eye fresh and be able to see mistakes a little bit easier, or things that you want to change. Because it's crazy how fast your eyes can just get like blind to the mistakes you make. It's the same as like scent, you know, if there's a really bad smell in the room, it's like your first scent to go, and then you get used to it. You don't realize it until other people walk in the room or until you leave the room and come back in. I guess it's the same with any sort of smell. It doesn't have to be a bad smell. Anyways, so then this is my tabouret, my trolley, and it looks kind of messy, but it's actually cleaner than it normally is. This is nice. It's got wheels on it so I can move it around, but I always hold my palette. I like to have it right on me. I usually have like an oil well also with some sort of medium in it. So just always have the palette as like an extension of my arm, so I can see how the colors change as I'm moving around the room, even if the lighting's really stable. But I'm always a big proponent for always having that palette on your arm. Yeah, I got too many brushes. And yeah, so I had this great idea of hanging paint on the side of it, but I get too lazy to put them back on. I know that sounds like a really not much effort to do, but yeah, I have some, like this is a Michael Harding. I have some Michael Harding or Natural Pigments paints of some of the colors that I like very infrequently use. And then for the bulk of the paints, I use the ones that I make. So like Ivory Black, Castle Earth, Lead White, Yellow Ochre, all that. Those are ones I use because I use a lot of them. So I like to make sure that the bulk of the paint's on there that I have control over. And then if I need to add a little bit of like a genuine vermilion or something like that, I can go for the tube. And then I have a million different stretcher bars that I bought quite cheap online. They're really hefty ones. And so I don't have to worry about sizes. I can usually make something from that collection. And then I got a couple rolls of linen, which is nice too. So I can just, like I have some canvases in the work here. You can see I'm doing all sorts of different things with them. I bought linen, some that had like the regular weave, but then I bought some that have herringbone weave. And this doesn't have a gesso over it, so this is just raw linen sized with rabbit skin glue. But I don't know if you'll be able to see the texture on the canvas or on the video. Yeah, but you can see how it's different. It's like herringbone is like you can think of it as like the fish, like the spine of the fish, how it like the weave goes like that. And I've been really loving painting on that stuff. So I wish I would have just bought that and not the other stuff, but I have to get through the other stuff. But this big canvas I'm working on is herringbone, which I don't know if you can see it or not. I mean, you could on the side, but yeah, I love that stuff. It's super heavyweight too, which is super nice. What else? Oh, a good thing also is to have like a single light source. If you're working from life, like have a still life setup or just anything where you really want light in only one direction. And so I have, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, sorry for all the glare, but I'll be quick. This thing right here is just a fabric I put down, and it stops this light that's right behind it from casting light onto the area where I'm painting. There it is. And so ideally, I want there to be painting from just light from just one source, one direction. So I kind of have it like a wide direction now, but just kind of coming down from one direction. And so like oftentimes, because these lights back here, I'll take this paper off. These lights here do add a glare to the big painting at least. And so what's nice about the light switch is I can just turn those off when I'm painting, and so it gets to like a really strong like movie theater effect, which is nice. So I can keep that dark, and then there's just one light source coming down on the painting. I could even make it more kind of spotlighty. I could put like all of these kind of in the center if I wanted to, or off to the side a little bit. Probably off to this side since I'm left-handed, just so the shadow doesn't get cast onto me. But yeah, so that gives me a lot of flexibility. So I hope that that gives you kind of a brief overlook at my studio where all these paintings get made from. I'm still trying to figure out like the most efficient way to set up the studio. So if you see something in here and you're like, oh, why did you do it this way? Like, it's so dumb. Like this is a much better way to do it. Let me know. I would be really curious to see or hear about any design advantages that you think the studio could benefit from. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you saw me briefly cover and you think, oh wow, like I should make a whole video about that, or you would be willing to watch a video about that, whether it be like cleaning oil or anything to do with like materials, or like how I get what inspires me, some of the inspiration, or even like kind of the technical processes of painting a 5.5 by 7.5 foot painting. Anything like that would be cool to hear. Also, like I'm starting to do some more plein air painting, and so I'm getting a plein air painting set up right now. But I've been doing a lot of little studies of just like sunsets from the view of on the deck at my house and some stuff like that. Like I want to make a video eventually of my plein air painting setup. This is my plein air painting box. Also, like book recommendations, that could be a cool thing if you want me to go more into depth with that. It could be kind of cool. But yeah, this was kind of just to show you all these little things I'm working on, and to show you where all these paintings come from. So I hope this isn't just like me, bragging, oh, how cool, look at all this stuff is. Because I haven't paid for any of this furniture or books except for this. So I chalk it up a lot to being well connected and a lot of luck. So I'm wanting to give back as much as possible. And obviously there can only be one wardrobe. There can't be any more use for it than just mine, but if I can inspire people of how to set up a studio, or different aesthetic ideas or efficiency ideas for their studios, then I think that'd be good to somehow get more use out of it than just me being a hermit in the studio painting away. I hope you're able to get something from that, even if it was just a little sense of inspiration, or even just wanting to start looking into leveling up your studio or getting one set up. So yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching.